Perfect. So while we wait, I'm just going to kind of give a brief introduction to myself and Careerspace. So my name is Layla, and I've been working with Careerspace for about a year now, doing as a special projects assistant, doing events and just creating opportunities where students can connect with faculty or employers or recruiters in order to gain some more experiential learning or job opportunities. So yeah, like I said, Careerspace provides an authentic outlook on the career landscape by providing Trent students and alumni with meaningful experiences, necessary perspectives, services for all Trent student and alumni. To get some more information on how to book appointments or some services or even like tip sheets that we have, you can go to trentu.ca/careerspace or the student experience portal to book an appointment. So like I said, we're just going to give it a few more minutes just to let our panelists come on. But if you have any questions in the meantime about careers, oh, that's all right. So I've gone ahead and introduced myself. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, we can just kind of jump right into it.
Okay, so should I do so now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, greetings. My name is Asaf Zohar. I am the founding and current chair of the Sustainability Studies at Trent University. It is a graduate program degree, and I am delighted to be here.
Awesome, great. So if you have a PowerPoint, you can go ahead and share that now. If not, you can kind of just go ahead and tell us a bit more about the program.
Okay, so let me share this PowerPoint here. So in terms of our program, we have a number of different objectives in our program. The Master's in Sustainability Studies is an interdisciplinary program, and it is a transdisciplinary program that basically is aimed at addressing issues of furthering community sustainability and well-being. It's designed to enable students to look at the sustainability of human societies in relation to the natural environment. So in doing so, we touch upon what we consider to be the main pillars of sustainability. And that would be, on the one hand, the pillar of communities, human communities, the environmental pillar of environmental issues, the economic pillar, as well as the pillar of spirituality and the spirit of human nature. What we call the social pillars. So these really, this issue of sustainability really rests in many fields, and that's why we have to move our inquiry between different disciplines. What we aim to do is provide students with an education and training that prepares them to be thought leaders and action leaders within academia, government, across all sectors, the non-for-profit sector as well. We come together in our program, and typically students are usually with us for 2 years to develop skills in research, critical thinking, and of course action that will enable them to pursue both academic training and formal training. So the way our program is structured is we have a thesis or course-based stream. We call our course-based stream the major research paper stream. And basically it involves a series of required courses. There are not a lot of required courses in our program because every individual is allowed to tailor their program to their particular research needs. The Sustainability 5000 is our perspectives course, and that is a year-long course for year 1 students. We then have a public colloquium course where we bring a variety of different speakers to talk about multiple aspects of sustainability. And we have a research methods course. The difference between our thesis and course-based or major research paper stream is typically between 2 electives taken by a thesis stream plus a thesis. A major research paper candidates produce a major research paper and 3 electives. What I just want to emphasize is in terms of the flow of people in our program in year 1, the first 2 terms are really put together for students to identify, define the direction through which they want to engage in research. By the end of the second term, which would be in this year, the winter of 2021, they're in a position to defend their particular proposals and move on for the summer of research and doing. In the fall term, they collect data, refine their thesis or major research paper, and by term 5, which is winter of 2020, they're ready to defend and graduate. That in a nutshell is the structure of our program. We've come together to create this program to teach people how to make a difference. We move very, very clearly from ideas into action. This is not an academic program in the sense of just generating good ideas. Every candidate to be accepted to our program has to identify an area of sustainability where they want to make a difference. And again, that can be an environment-focused inquiry into sustainability, an organization-based inquiry, a socially based inquiry, or a culturally based inquiry, but it all has to be directed towards action and making a difference. And in that sense, we see ourselves as a community of change makers and change agents trying to move forward the agenda of sustainability. We have people doing everything all the way from integrating indigenous knowledges into making a sustainable change and a difference in society, to those that are looking at climate change issues and more traditional science-based issues in terms of environment and sustainability. And in between, we have people, most of those students work with people with me and the School of Business at organizational level promotion of change. In a nutshell, we see our program as being a vehicle for change into the future. We have an eclectic group of students that are making change on a regular basis. And our doors are open to invite others to join our journey.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like such a great opportunity. I love the focus on creating kind of like real change and doing something meaningful with this degree. So thank you so much again for presenting and sharing that information. So I would just like to remind everyone, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the Q&A now to be answered. Kind of some questions we typically get though is how competitive is the program to get into?
Okay, so in terms of competitiveness, we have a cohort of typically between 15 and 20 students who are accepted to the program. I would say on average, we have an acceptance rate of 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, but this is a very, very different program because it's not predefined. In other words, we expect our students to say, I'm looking to make a difference in an area of sustainability. And I said, that's really good. What faculty do you want to work with? So from the get-go, our applicants are required to be proactive. They look through our embodiment of faculty members, and actually our graduate program has the largest contingent of faculty members because we have faculty members from every single program in school, from humanities, social sciences, and from STEM. So basically, it's up to our students to come and do a match, identify a faculty member that they want to work with, and they proceed with that. So that really is the basis of selection. But statistically, it's usually 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 that get accepted to the program.
Awesome, yeah, and I think it's amazing how it's kind of, the program is a little more focused on the student interest and letting them pick something that they're, you know, going to enjoy working towards and come out with, you know, a degree in something they really are passionate about. So just another question we received, what type of financial assistance is offered for students in this program?
Well, in this regard, I think we are extremely competitive at Trent. A thesis-based student typically receives 2 years of guaranteed funding. And during those 2 years, they are awarded without competition. They're awarded a graduate teaching assistantship for the fall and the winter terms. And that's through the first year and the second year. In terms of, we're always dependent on what the government policies will be. In these very uncertain times, we don't know how much money we get until we get it. In terms of funding, for students who entered year 1, they were guaranteed just under between $25,000 and $30,000 of funding for those 2 years. So it works on average between $14,000 and $15,000 a year of funding. that we provide successful full-time applicants.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's a great opportunity. So we just have another question. So they thanked you for your presentation, and they were wondering if you could talk about some of the current research your students are conducting.
Well, it's interesting you should ask. I just joined this meeting from a thesis defense, and the defense was about a thesis on civic agriculture. So they were looking at local food markets and what is required to sustain and enable those food markets and to sustain over time. So we have sustainable agriculture students that are asking questions about that. I have another student that is working on a local food hub, which has become extremely relevant in these times of COVID and supply chain challenges in relation to food. So we have a food hub that's looking at issues of food security, locally grown produce. And again, it's not at a conceptual level. We require our students to say, okay, in terms of action, how does this translate? I've got another student who is working internationally to look at sustainability as a bridge between conflicting communities in the Middle East. So can sustainability offer a common ground? And again, his particular case study is in agriculture, doing that. I have another student who's looking at issues of how do we bring sustainable technologies to rural settings, whether that be in terms of wind farms or solar farms. Each and every one of these requires a specific community to agree to host that research project so that the project becomes relevant and actionable. So it really is from soup to nuts. Another you've asked me, so I'm going to keep on going. We have a student that's looking at seed banks and heritage seeds and sustainable seeds from local communities. How do we actually manage this, and how do we scale up a myriad of very small projects that exist in pockets in different communities, typically by nonprofit organizations? How do we make those sustainable? Can we scale those up to a point where they'll have meaningful impact in terms of planting more and more trees and using more and more heritage seeds in terms of our daily food intake? So I have another student looking after that particular issue. And finally, I've got a student that's looking at sustainable economic development in our host community here, Curve Lake. Curve Lake, of course, is, and Trent University is located on traditional territory, Mississauga and Chippewa nations. And our host has invited us to come at looking at sustainable development of an economic enterprise that is based on traditional indigenous ways of knowing. So that's just an example of issues that I've dealt with today in terms of those particular projects.
Perfect. And we have more questions coming in. So someone was asking, for projects like the food hub that you mentioned, how closely are students working with their faculty members?
Well, that's a really good question. In these particular cases, we have students that are approaching, and I think it's really fair to say, we have global leading faculty in certain areas of research around sustainability. For example, I've got 4 different students working on water issues, water in terms of water purification and water use by remote communities. They're working with leading edge faculty in School of the Environment that are world renowned for their research. When they apply, they identify those faculty members, say, I really want to work with you on this particular issue. So they got to do their homework. They got to find out what the faculty member is doing and come and say, let's talk about doing a slice of this research. I'd like to dedicate 2 years of a master's degree towards working with you on that. So the answer is very simply, you work very closely with that particular faculty member.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's great to know that, you know, Trent has all these people who are so well versed in their fields that students are learning so much, I think, from these people, just based on their experiences, let alone the project that they're working on.
Very much.
One more question we have. Could you share a bit about what alumni from your program do? Kind of what their careers are, or, you know, how they've used that experience post-graduation?
And that's a really good question, because it speaks directly to our mission. We're not here to start another academic program on sustainability. Sustainability has enough good academic ideas. Our pressing need and our vision as a program is to make a difference in practice. So when I sit down with a student, I talk about, okay, let's begin with the day after you graduate, where are you going to work? And let's cycle back from there and build a thesis that will build a bridge to that. I spoke 2 days ago with a student of mine that is now in her third job working with Indigenous communities on Indigenous economic development. And that was her thesis. She and I developed a training program as part of her research. When she defended her thesis, she had 4 communities come up to her within a week and say, we need you to come do that in our community and invite us. So that's an example. Another example is a student that talked about sustainable regional development. Within 2 days of his graduating, he is now in a senior position in municipality of Peterborough, putting those talents to practice because he has a very, very rare skill set. He has experience that he came before the program in urban development, but he also has sustainable practices. And as you may know, Peterborough as a region, it's a perfect host for our program because the vision of our municipality and our region is to become the most sustainable region in Canada. So we have a perfect outlet in terms of enterprises, non-for-profit government organizations here in the region that are dying to hire our graduates yesterday.
No, that's amazing. And I think what a unique opportunity to kind of be able to discuss with you what their career goals are before identifying a project so that, you know, it can be so closely related or such a direct tie that, you know, they are able to build experience in that field that they were interested in upon entering the program.
Yes, yes, very much so. I have another graduate that's working with a local Peterborough Kawartha Economic Development Group, trying to translate sustainable development goals into practical measures through which we can develop our region. You can have me go on, and these poor students won't get to hear any other speakers because that is really our vision. We don't, oh, and by the way, somebody got a job. No, when you start in our program, you tell me, what job do I want to work from the minute I get out of the program? And that is the enterprise that we're leading here, making a difference through practical action.
No, I think that's, you know, such an amazing focus and such a unique opportunity in a master's degree to kind of have that direct tie to post-graduation opportunities. So I'll put another thing. If anyone has any more questions, we have a few more minutes, so we're able to answer any more. But in the meantime, thank you so much for coming and presenting. You know, I think even myself have learned so much about this program right in our Trent community, which is amazing. And yeah, I just think it's an amazing opportunity for students who are interested.
I would really encourage students that want to hear more and to learn more, because this is a unique program. Many programs you come in and you know from day one what you have to do all the way to graduation. This is the opposite. We're inviting students to drive their own bus. We're inviting students to come tell us what they want to do. And then each one is custom built to that particular student. They match themselves with a faculty member with an interest. And you, not only do you have total agency, you have a complete voice in terms of where your destination is. And in these times when we feel so powerless over so many things that are happening, this is where you have the power. You say where you want to make a difference, and we provide the tools to enable you to make that difference. And we're along with you on your journey. You're not joining our journey.
No, I think that's fantastic. So I think that was it for questions, but thank you again. And thank you to all of our students taking time out of their day to come watch this presentation. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and your many Zoom calls to come and present some great information to our students.
Well, it's entirely my pleasure. And as you can see from my background, I'm always about where we end up. And that is actually a graduation ceremony at Trent University, and we hope
Awesome.
to return to those as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Well, thank you again, and enjoy your weekend.
You too. Take care, everybody, awesome. And I look forward. Please visit our website. We have contact information there. You can pursue further questions with myself, with our course coordinators. All the links are there. We'd be glad to have a conversation.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Okay. All the best. Enjoy.